Okay, so we're group number 1043. We're from Colorado State University. I'm Alex Cerullo, and I worked with Chris Evans and Ethan Lucero. Our coach is Matt Kipper, and we chose problem C, people ruin everything.
So the reason why we chose this problem is it piqued all of our interests, and the problem also seemed to match the content that we've previously learned in classes and whatnot. And we also thought it would be fun to model our own populations due to just research and create our own equations based on our findings. So general assumptions and thoughts that we had. One of the main things that we pulled from was this model called the Lotka-Volterra model, and it was very helpful. And it was just some people in the past created this model to show predators and prey and how they interact with each other in an ODE. And without predators, there would be a population decrease proportional to its size, and we also thought that less predators would equal more prey.
So we picked 3 animals to be in our system, the prey being bunnies, and then we had 2 predators, hawks and foxes. The first explanation I'll give would be on the prey, which is the bunnies. So to start this process in our system, we will have a given amount of bunnies that will be consumed and regulated by the hawks and foxes. When humans are introduced to the system, new predators will be established by the bunnies as things like cars and them getting poisoned, and the bunnies will need to learn how to adapt to this. But the bunny population will still grow during this phase because even with these new dangers, bunnies are considered safer by human instinct than hawks and foxes are, so they won't be as drove away as the other 2. When humans rapidly leave the system, the bunnies will be at a loss for their predator instincts. So they will be easy prey for hawks and foxes, and that'll make their population rapidly decrease. They'll slightly regain some of their predator instincts, but the damage would have already been done, and the bunny population will be significantly less than how we started the system. The next animal is foxes, which is one of our predators. So initially the foxes in our system, they'll consume the bunnies and regulate them. When humans are introduced, the population will decrease because the bunnies will adapt to the new environment and have more hiding spaces because humans will accept them more. Where humans will see a fox and they'll feel threatened and they'll drive away the foxes, and the bunnies will be more accepted in the ecosystem. Humans leaving will increase the fox population because the bunnies will be at a lack of predator instincts because of those hiding places that they were given by the humans. So they will be more easily available food for the foxes. The last predator is the hawks, and initially the hawks in the system will also account for the bunnies being regulated and eaten. When humans are introduced, the population will also decrease because of the more hiding abilities of the bunnies, and there will also be a lack of shelter for the hawks. They won't be able to build nests because there will be less trees, things like that. When humans leave, there'll be an increase of hawks because bunnies will be an easier target for food, and there will be more shelter available for the hawks.
So next you can see the equations that we used. Towards the top left of this picture, we can look at the initial equations that we used before humans are introduced. I'll just define a few of the numbers and lettering that we used. So we used alpha as how fast the bunnies would grow, beta as how fast the bunnies were hunted, delta would be the predator growth, gamma would be the cap of how much the predator can grow, and B would be the proportional term proportionating the predators and prey to one another, and K would be only given to the prey in their equation, and it would be the carrying capacity shown in the environment. And towards the right, you can see the humans being introduced, which we showed. And then towards the bottom, you can see the final after the humans leave. And that's just immediately after the humans leave. And then we have different equations for that as well. And so some general evaluations. When we looked at our first ODE model, we can see that the animals are all going through randomized ups and downs through their population difference. Later, when we are looking at the humans, when the humans are first introduced, we can see that the animal population will decrease as they're trying to adapt to the humans. And then after, we can see the humans have just left, and for a while, the bunny populations will increase as the predators will stay decreased. Sorry, that was for after the humans have been there for a while. And then once the humans do leave, the population of the bunnies will decrease as they will begin to take more risks and they'll be hunted easier, giving the predators a lot more food, so giving them an increase.
So this is our graph from our coding. We used MATLAB to model this system. You can see the bunnies steady in the system prior to the humans being introduced, and then the hawks and foxes are regulating that population. I will note on both these axes that time and population are unitless, and Chris will get into that when he's explaining the code on why that is. When humans are increased, you can see the slight increase of the bunnies, and then kind of a drastic increase as time goes on, and then it stays steady, where you can see a decrease in the fox and the hawk population, and the fox and the hawk population is no longer regulating the bunny population as well as it was prior to the humans coming. When the humans rapidly leave the system, you can see the dramatic decrease in the bunny population until they adapt a few more predator instincts and go back to being decently steady, where the fox and the hawk population will drastically increase and regulate the system a lot more as they're eating a lot more of the bunny population or the prey population. So what you can see from this graph, the big thing that we're talking about here is that we believe that after humans rapidly leave the system, that the damage will already be done and the system will not return to as it originally was prior to humans being introduced.
All right, now we can go over some MATLAB code. So to begin our MATLAB code, we started with defining our 3 sets of ODEs. So we have the ODEs for the initial conditions, and this is just setting all of our coefficients and everything like that, so like K and B and alpha and beta, gamma, delta. And then here are our equations written out in MATLAB. Here is when humans are introduced, these variables are changed, and everything in these equations is about the same, except we have the humans equation here now. And then here's our final equation. It was originally only 3 equations, and then we decided to add a graphical representation of the humans leaving really quickly instead of them just disappearing at 100 population. So we can go up to here. We set our time interval and then our initial conditions. This is pretty arbitrary because it just stabilizes itself out, but we said that the bunnies started at 10, foxes at 2, and then the hawks also at 2. So then we use ODE 45 to model to solve our ODEs. We chose this because it's better at doing coupled ODEs, which these population equations are, because the population of the predators is directly related to the population of the prey, and so on. So we can plot these, and then this is what that looks like, and then we can solve the other 2 ODE systems and plot those as well. For the initial conditions of the 2 4-equation models, they take the initial conditions of the previous set of ODEs and then introduced humans at 10 population. So that's that, and then when we run it, it creates a graph, and this is what the graph looks like. In the beginning, I'd like to add that the populations are very steady, like they're very gradual increases and decreases, as we get farther into adding humans and removing humans, it goes more steep increases and decreases, more unsteady, more chaotic population changes. So what we can see in these graphs is the population and the time is unitless, and this is on purpose because it's more proportional. So with the time, we can kind of see the generation. So this might be like 2 or 3 years as 300. And then the population is more proportional, so it's not exactly 120 at this point, but more like 1,200 or 120,000 or things like that. It's not necessarily 120, it's more based off of 0.
And that concludes our model analysis for problem C, people ruin everything. Thank you.